Hello, this is Sarah Braasch. Welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be my how to get your Twitter account back if you have been wrongfully suspended, permanently suspended by Twitter as I was. And obviously I was able to get my Twitter account back eventually. I'm very happy to have my Twitter account back because I do feel that I still need it to save my life and career. Quite frankly, yeah. So anyway, so I didn't want to script this because I think my videos are better when they're unscripted. I just wanted to talk, so I'm just going to do this extemporaneously, and if I forget something, I'll just do another video. So I wanted to start off by saying that, well, the first mistake I made is that it seems to be the case that Twitter is abiding by a 3 strikes and you're out policy. And I made the mistake, which I want to caution everyone else against, is do not take your first 2 strikes lightly. Because even if the first 2 strikes seem like they're completely ridiculous and you just cannot believe that you've been temporarily suspended or locked out of your account for whatever reason Twitter gives you, do not take the first 2 strikes lightly. And my suggestion, even though my first strike was back in September of 2019, and it was a tweet where I tagged Joy Reid, the MSNBC commentator. She has her own show on MSNBC, and she has told some of the most horrible and disgusting lies about me imaginable. So that was my first strike, is standing up to Joy Reid, and I fought it, and I appealed it. I didn't just delete the tweet and get back into my account. I did appeal it. Unfortunately, Twitter kept punishing me. First, they rejected my appeal and they punished me. They gave me, I think it was a 3-day suspension. And then when I appealed that, my suspension continued. They extended it for a week. And I was also complaining about them on my blog, which I think was part of the reason why they kept extending my suspension until I think it ultimately ended up being an 8-day suspension. But even so, I think it was a good thing that I appealed it and I did not just accept the strike. And that would be my first suggestion, is do not take your strikes lightly. Even if you think they're completely ludicrous, you should appeal them. I would suggest appealing every single strike that you get. Appeal every single temporary suspension. Because the reason why I'm telling you that is because my second strike was just so completely asinine that it boggles the mind. So my second strike was on, I believe, December 13th, and it was regarding a tweet from October 23rd, I believe. And the tweet that, the October 23rd tweet was me simply, now this person, it was in response to this person just because someone else had been speaking to this person, but I was not speaking to this person, my stalker. So the October 23rd tweet was just me basically saying a simple, correct, factual statement that I had never interacted even a single time with my stalker, that I had immediately blocked this person when they came into my field of vision, and that I did not understand why Twitter allowed this person to continue to serially harass me. That was it. That was it. And Twitter locked me out of my account and called that hateful conduct on my part. And at the time, both Scott Greenfield and the journalist Kathy Young were tweeting about how fucking ridiculous this was. and Kathy Young corroborated my claims that this person had been stalking me and others for months, that I had never interacted with this person but had simply blocked them. And Kathy Young said, what Sarah is saying is correct. I've seen the evidence. And that was my second strike. So at first I appealed it. I did at first appeal it because I just thought this is so asinine. But then I decided, and I think this was a huge mistake. I think this was a huge mistake because I do think that I could have won that appeal. I really do think I could have won that appeal. And I should not have done this, but I decided to drop the appeal and to get unlocked and just to get back into my account because I just really felt like I needed to have access to my account. I just really felt like I need access to my Twitter account. I'm trying to save my life and career. The last time I appealed back in September, they ended up locking me out of my Twitter account for more than a week. They denied the appeal anyway. So I made the decision to end the appeal and to delete the tweet and just to get back into my account. And I actually tweeted about this and I expressed that. I think that was a huge mistake. So what happened was then at the end of December, on December 27th to be exact, I tweeted about Shonda Rhimes, and again, it was me simply stating that she had incited a death threat sending mob against me, and that I felt that this was completely wrong for her to do this. Someone with 2 million followers, a public figure, an entertainment industry figure of epic proportions. Can you imagine how many death threats I got after she did that? She tweeted that I needed to be policed, and she had tweeted also that I'm the reason why America can't have nice things. And I also said that, she has a responsibility as someone with a public figure with a blue check mark and 2 million followers to make sure that she's doing the right thing before she incites a death threat sending mob against an innocent nobody with no Twitter followers who was living like a hermit at the top of a tower on Yale's campus, someone with mental health disabilities. So yeah, Shonda Rhimes, you do. You have a responsibility to make sure that you're not inciting a death threat sending mob against an innocent person and cyberbullying them into suicide, a vulnerable person with mental health disabilities. Great work, Shonda Rhimes. That was excellent work on your part. So, and I also said in this tweet, my main point was that if this can happen to me, and an entirely innocent and lifelong human and civil rights activist, a licensed attorney who had dedicated her life to fighting oppression, if this can happen to me, it can happen to absolutely anyone. It can happen to you. You can wake up one morning and find that Shonda Rhimes has tweeted to her 2 million followers that you're the reason why America can't have nice things. That was what the tweet said. So that was the third strike, and then my Twitter account was permanently suspended. Now, what I'm going to say to you is this. First of all, do not do what I did, which is think this is completely and totally ludicrous and asinine. This must be a mistake. Of course, Twitter is going to correct this. This must just be some kind of automated response. And so I'm just going to immediately respond to the suspension and say, I don't understand. Please, reinstate my account. Please restore my account. Obviously, this is some kind of horrible mistake. This must be some kind of automated response. I've never engaged in hateful conduct in my life. And the third strike was also for hateful conduct. And so do not do that. Do not immediately respond like that. Because of course, and I should have realized this, is that Twitter just blew me off. I think that first response is your one chance to actually be in contact. And maybe it isn't. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I'm just guessing. That first response is maybe your one chance to actually be in contact with an actual human being. Because if that first response is rejected, then you are going to be sent into the automated loop from hell, and no human being is probably ever going to look at your responses ever again, no matter how many times you appeal your suspension to, and how many new cases you open, and how many times you appeal your suspension to Twitter support. So that's what I would tell you. What I would tell you is that in that first response, wait, pause, and collect your evidence. Collect your evidence, gather all of your evidence together that the suspension is wrongful, that the 3 strikes are wrongful. Gather all of that evidence together and send all of that evidence in your first response. I think I maybe would have had a chance to avoid the permanent suspension if I had done that, because I had literally mountains and mountains of evidence. Because what I didn't realize right away, but I soon came to realize, is that the person who was reporting me falsely and fraudulently was my stalker. They were the ones submitting these false and fraudulent reports to Twitter. And I actually thought, because I unblocked most people before the 3rd strike, so I just thought, oh, that was a mistake to unblock all these people. And of course, now they've been mass reporting me, and they're the ones mass reporting me for this 3rd strike. But then no, because of course, we all know, just like, I mean, I'm not comparing my stalker to a serial killer, but, in all the movies about serial killers, they say serial killers they want attention. They want to claim responsibility for what they've done, and they can't stand it otherwise. And that is what happened with my stalker. They couldn't stand the fact that they weren't getting the attention, and they weren't getting the credit for having gotten me kicked off Twitter. So they started sending me messages on my blog saying, no, it was me. I'm the one who's been sending all of these reports to Twitter, just mass reporting you over and over again. So then after that, after I'd already been sent into the automated loop from hell, I gathered all of my evidence. That the Twitter suspension was completely wrongful, and I sent it to Twitter. But it was too late by that point, because I was already in the automated loop from hell. I don't think anybody was looking at this mountain of evidence that I was sending to Twitter support, that the reports against me had all been false and fraudulent. And one other thing that I want to tell you is that I think you should really decide, if it does happen to you, that you are wrongfully permanently suspended from Twitter. I think you should just ask yourself at first how much you want or need your Twitter account. Because it basically was, I had to traverse the 9 levels of hell, of Dante's hell, basically, to get my Twitter account back. And that's not really hyperbole. So I suggest that you ask yourself, like, how much do I really want and need to get my Twitter account back, and what am I willing to do? What lengths am I willing to go to get my Twitter account back? I was actually going to stop at basically nothing to get my Twitter account back. So there's that. But I do suggest asking yourself what you're willing to do to get your Twitter account back, because it's probably not going to be all that easy. Okay. So the next thing I would say is run, don't walk, to the San Francisco Bay Area Better Business Bureau. Once I was stuck in the automated loop from hell. I think the only reason why I ever was in touch, even indirectly, with another actual human being at Twitter again was because I was being represented and my complaint was being submitted by the Better Business Bureau. The Better Business Bureau, the San Francisco Bay Area Better Business Bureau, were absolutely fantastic. They were absolutely fantastic. Now, this is an idiosyncratic piece of my story of getting my Twitter account back, but it is the case that, and I can't remember the exact date that this happened on. I think it was the end of January. I want to say January 24th. I'm going to say January 24th. I could be a little bit off on that date. I actually received, like, someone at Twitter support actually took a look at my suspension and said, this is completely ridiculous and completely stupid. And they sent me, I received an authentic email notification from Twitter stating that my suspension was wrongful, acknowledging that my suspension was a mistake, and telling me that my account had already been fully restored. And of course I was thrilled, but I was having trouble getting into my account. I wasn't seeing my account as fully restored. But it was a Friday when this happened, so I thought, oh, it's probably just because it's the weekend. And then I kept doing different things. I kept submitting individual tickets saying my account has been restored, but I can't make tweets. My account has been restored, but I can't, see my direct messages. My account has been restored, but whatever, etc. And then I also submitted another appeal of the permanent suspension, again saying my account has been restored, or I've received this authentic email notification, and I was sending the header information that proved that this was an authentic email notification, that my account had been restored. Now, the one other thing, but I kept waiting and it wasn't happening. And so the one other thing that I did is that Gretchen Mullen, Skeptic Review 89, and she's been my lead guardian angel, we decided, well, let's light a fire under Twitter's ass. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and announce that your account has been restored because you've received this authentic email notification, but it just hasn't actually happened yet. And then you make a temporary account and we'll announce that as well. And we'll announce that you're using this temporary account until your original account is fully restored. Well, that didn't end up working. I think it ultimately helped. I think it was a piece of the puzzle that ultimately pushed us in the right direction, but it was kind of funny at the time. So that didn't end up working. So Twitter immediately suspended this temporary account that I had made. So that didn't end up working. And then, but what I did then is I contacted the rep at the Better Business Bureau, and because I had received this authentic email notification and I had the header information proving it was authentic, they reopened my account and resent my complaint to Twitter support. So then what ultimately ended up happening is they ultimately said, look, Twitter again sent back a rejection of my complaint, saying they were not going to restore my account, and then they dropped the hateful conduct language because, of course, that was completely bullshit. But then they were accusing me of targeted abuse, which is also bullshit, but whatever. So anyway, so at that point, the Better Business Bureau rep, who was absolutely fabulous, told me that the Better Business Bureau had done basically everything that they could do. And so my next step was to file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. So in my very last letter to Twitter via the Better Business Bureau in response to their rejection of my complaint, I think my last letter was excellent. And I laid out all of my points, all of my evidence, and I said that I was going to file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. And I think that really made a big impression. So I don't know whose desk it came across, but At some point, there must have been a human being at Twitter who actually looked at my letter that I wrote in response to Twitter's rejection of my Better Business Bureau complaint. And a few days later, I got another email notification from Twitter saying, "We're sorry, our bad. Your suspension was wrongful. We've restored your account." And they had, in fact, restored my account, and they only made me delete the Shonda Rhimes tweet. And that's my story. So I've said a lot, but I think I'll do another video. I think this is getting a little long, so I'll wrap this up. And I'll do yet another video, and maybe I'll do like kind of an overview video. The second video will just be like, boom, bullet points, 1, 2, 3, do this, do this, do this, do this, and I'll make it shorter. But this is the full story of how I got my Twitter account back. Okay, I love you all so much. I'll have my PayPal me and GoFundMe links below. Please support me so I can sue Twitter. I would love to do that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, but I would love to do that, as long with many of their major blue check mark bread and butter players who defamed me egregiously. I absolutely believe that Twitter was silencing me because of my legitimate defamation claims against them and many of their major players. There's not a doubt in my mind. But I do have my Twitter account back, and that's how I did it. And I'll do a second video, but I love you all so much, okay? And Twitter, give Otter Jesus his account back. Kathy Young needs Otter Jesus. All right, I'll see you later. I love you all so much. Bye.